And I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but now this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that?
One thing to throw shade at your favorite politician, but it's another to torch him on live TV. And that's exactly what Bill Maher just pulled off. Maher has never been shy about swooning over Gavin Newsom, but even he's clearly fed up with the California governor's circus and isn't holding back anymore. On a recent episode of his show, the comedian and host ripped Newsom apart for his disastrous leadership of California, and it was brutal. Smash that subscribe button if you're hungry for more scorching commentary like this.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do porn.
Will Maher really just say that the highlight of Gavin Newsom's legacy is that he looks like he'd thrive in the adult entertainment industry? That's not just a jab. That's a knockout punch from someone who used to sing his praises. Imagine being the governor of one of the most powerful states in America, only for your biggest achievement to be your looks, fit for an X-rated movie. Of all the supposed accomplishments Newsom parades, Maher boiled it down to a parody-worthy career path. That alone speaks volumes about how badly California has been mismanaged under his watch. When your number one fan roasts you like this, you know your political brand is circling the drain.
I don't want to say he really, really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears. They'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
Truth is, California has practically rolled out the red carpet for the homeless. Why wouldn't they flock there? The state's laws have made it comfortable and convenient, creating a haven where they feel not just tolerated, but welcome. But let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't compassion, it's chaos. Under Gavin Newsom's leadership, homelessness hasn't just increased, it's exploded. Instead of tackling the crisis with tough, practical solutions, Newsom's policies enable it, turning sidewalks into tent cities and neighborhoods into open-air shelters. And it doesn't stop there. His soft stance on crime, always siding with criminals over victims, has fueled California's growing lawlessness. Break the law and you might just get a slap on the wrist, if that. Homelessness up, crime up, quality of life down. That's the Newsom legacy in a nutshell.
The knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I noticed slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
Finally, Bill Maher admits what many Californians have known all along. Gavin Newsom is nothing more than a slick politician. He's polished, smooth-talking, and charismatic on the surface. But underneath it all, empty words. Newsom has mastered the art of saying a whole lot of nothing. He's the king of political rambling, weaving long, flashy speeches that dodge the hard questions and distract from his failures. Sure, he can charm a crowd, but charm doesn't fix skyrocketing homelessness, rising crime, or a collapsing quality of life. He's skilled at slipping out of sticky situations with carefully rehearsed rhetoric. But let's be honest, is that really leadership? Do we want a governor who promises the moon, yet delivers dust? Californians deserve solutions, not sound bites. And if Maher, the man who once admired him, now calls him out, maybe it's time the rest of the country wakes up too.
On KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but now this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can.
Anyone with a shred of sanity knows Gavin Newsom doesn't stand a chance at the presidency. Not after what he's done to California. His record is a disaster that even the slickest PR campaign can't hide. Across the state, residents are fed up, openly complaining about the low depths to which he has dragged California. Once a hub for innovation, business, and prosperity, California is now a place companies are fleeing from in droves. Major businesses have packed up, taking jobs and opportunities with them, while high-profile individuals have also left, unwilling to deal with his reckless economic policies. Add to that a crumbling middle class and skyrocketing costs of living, and it's no wonder California's exodus is breaking records. And here's the kicker. Even many Democrats think he's gone too far. When leftist voters start calling you too progressive, you know your national ambitions are dead on arrival.
The swing states, there's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues in the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate. You're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Bill Maher hits the nail right on the head. What's dragging Gavin Newsom down isn't just the homelessness crisis or the crumbling economy. It's the non-stop woke circus he's been cheerleading. Voters across the country are tired of identity politics being shoved into every corner of their lives. And California under Newsom has become ground zero for it. The state has some of the wokest laws in America. And Maher pointed out one of the most absurd. Any toy store with more than 500 employees must have a gender-neutral department. Because apparently in Newsom's California, kids can't just play with toys. They have to make a political statement while doing it. As if we live in a world where people simply have no gender. This is the kind of tone-deaf policymaking that makes average voters roll their eyes and say, yeah, this guy could never be president.
government, too much government there.
That's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they're the ones making a case for that. They were making us, they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they've supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know what the top priorities are: homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
And that right there is his slick talk in action. The classic politician's trick. We're not accusing him of being blind to California's problems. Of course he knows them. Everyone knows them. Homelessness is spiraling out of control. Crime is rising in major cities. Taxes are sky high, and businesses are fleeing the state in droves. These issues aren't secrets. They're daily headlines. The problem isn't awareness. It's action. Knowing the house is on fire doesn't make you a hero. It's grabbing a hose and putting out the flames that matters. Yet he hides behind smooth speeches and buzzwords, pretending acknowledgement equals leadership. It doesn't. Words don't build affordable housing, lower crime, or balance a budget. Action does. And California is still waiting.
Good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
That
was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
You heard that right. Nearly 80% of the water produced in California is swallowed up by agriculture, and a huge chunk of that goes straight into growing almonds. Think about that for a second. This is a state notorious for its droughts, where wildfires rage almost every summer, where residents are constantly lectured to cut back on showers and lawns to save water. Yet behind the scenes, billions of gallons are being pumped into almond orchards. Why? Because almonds are California's cash crop, and big agriculture has the political muscle to keep the water flowing their way. So while ordinary Californians are told to ration, like it's the apocalypse, corporate farms are soaking up the state's lifeline. The irony is brutal. In a land of fire and thirst, California's water isn't saving its people. It's growing
a boatload of almonds.
I'm well aware.
You know what? You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Come on, man. Take on big almonds.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No. You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
Comes to delivering slick, polished answers, nobody outshines Gavin Newsom. The man could sell sand in the desert with how smooth he sounds. Every press conference, every interview, he talks a big game. You'd think he's out there reinventing leadership, tackling problems with bold new solutions. But peel back the flashy words, and the reality is far less impressive. He isn't solving the crises Californians face daily. He's just mastered the art of political theater. Homelessness continues to skyrocket. Crime plagues cities. Businesses flee under crushing taxes. And yet Newsom keeps talking like the state is thriving. It's a performance, not progress. The truth is, his greatest skill isn't governance. It's spin. And while speeches win applause, they don't fix streets, lower costs, or make Californians safer. Words can dazzle, but they can't deliver.
I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay. Here's the thing. Okay. I feel like the last couple of years you've purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War.
I agree with that.
You know what? Well, but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. It's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Newsom is as woke as they come, and if America makes the mistake of voting him into power, brace yourself. He'll drag the entire country to its knees, just like he's done to California over the last 8 years. Look at his record, a once golden state now drowning in homelessness, businesses fleeing in droves, sky-high taxes crushing the middle class, and cities plagued with crime and drug addiction. California should be the model of prosperity, with its wealth, resources, and innovation. But under Newsom, it's become a cautionary tale. He's mastered the art of pushing woke talking points while ignoring the everyday struggles of ordinary citizens. If this is the California blueprint he wants to sell to the rest of America, then consider it a blueprint for decline. Slick speeches won't change the reality. Newsom's leadership is a disaster in designer suits. Strip away the slick speeches, media spin, and carefully packaged image, and the truth about leaders like Obama and Newsom is clear. They thrive on charm, illusion, and woke theatrics, while the real problems, crime, homelessness, borders, the economy, get worse. Obama sold hope, but delivered division. Newsom sold a California dream, but left the state broken. Now some want to hand him the keys to the country, but America can't afford another illusionist in power. We need problem solvers, not performers. California was the warning shot. Ignore it, and the entire nation pays the price. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in